Well, hi everybody and welcome to this week's edition of Property Chat. First and foremost, I'm really sorry we haven't done more videos recently. We have been crazy busy. We've been doing lots of episodes of Homes Under the Hammer, lots more of those coming up on your screens. We'll let you know when they're on social media. And more importantly, what's going on with the general property market. Has St Ives' second home ban backfired? Property agents claim Cornwall banning the sale of new homes and making them only for locals has made prices continue to rise as there's a scarcity and builders aren't building. It's funny how you have these kind of unintended consequences come along. In terms of general market locally, we're now smack bang in the middle of what we call the mums market. The kids are back at school. Mum's now hunting quite eagerly for that new home. And we've actually found it's very busy. Lots of people thinking, yeah, I need that extra bedroom. Particularly popular 3-bedroom houses and flats with garden space. And generally, there seems to be that kind of sod it factor. I know Brexit's still there, it's still in the way, and there's still, I liken it to floodgates. You know, there's a lot of people that are still thinking, oh, should I move, shouldn't I? And they're just kind of held back behind the gates. And the moment it's all sorted out, the sluice gates will open and all the water will flood out. And the sheep will follow on, and guess what? House price will start to rise again. Because actually, if you look at it, the fundamentals are there. We have, you know, inflation rising, we've got salaries rising, we've got low interest rates, fantastic mortgage deals out there. The only thing that's missing for the market to take a substantial jump is actually confidence. And obviously that's jarred for obvious reasons, political and the like. We've got the election coming up. Of course, Brexit's had an impact, but that's already there. So now for me, it's a really good time to get involved with the market because there is a lot of stock out there that would take offers that perhaps wouldn't have done in a better market or is more competitively pitched in the first place. So if you're thinking of buying, contrary to what people might say, I would say it's a very good time to get involved because I don't believe for one moment that the housing market's going to fall off a cliff, as some suggest, because in the end, it's about supply and demand as well. And you know, there aren't enough houses here in London and there's always a constant demand for them. We're not building enough, so every year that problem compounds and sooner or later it comes home to roost. Successive housing ministers try to get to grips with this. They never can because the volume and space that we have relative to the number of people that want to live here and where all the revenue is smack bang in London where we all need to commute to, it just doesn't quite correlate. So when you've got a zone 3 area like us, we're always going to be popular regardless of what the general market's doing because there's a needs must about where we are. And remember, if you're not buying, you're renting, and if you're renting, then you're giving money to a landlord that's using that to service their mortgage, and that's a cost to you and a cost which you never get back. At least if you bought your home, then you can settle there, no worry about the landlord suddenly giving up and selling. And by the way, a lot of that's happening. Lots of landlords selling up, and guess what the consequence is? Talking about unintended consequences, guess what? Rental prices are rising rapidly and we've seen bigger rental increases than we've seen for years. And the reason for that is simply the legislation. Again, unintended consequences, the government tax landlords higher, they put more legislation, more costs in the way of landlords, and of course landlords respond with A, selling their properties up if they feel threatened by this, or B, having to increase the rent in order to cope with the new legislation. Either way, the end result is higher rents. So at the moment, that's what's happening here in southwest London, and as I say, we're sorry that we've been away for a while. We will be doing some more episodes now. We're a little bit more controlled, but it has been absolutely mad busy. That mums market's really kicked in for us, and if you think of selling this year, my advice is think about doing it right away, because actually what we find is that as the winter kicks in, we get closer to Christmas, so the demand from buyers drops off, and that's more pronounced when we've got an unusual market like we have now with Brexit and everything else. So I hope you've enjoyed this week's edition of Property Chat, and we'll be back next week with another edition. Take care until then.